Welcome, dear listeners, to the shadow behind you, where the veil between the living and the lost grows thin, and the echoes of forgotten sins claw their way back into the light. I am your guide through the darkened corridors of history, where bloodlines twist like gnarled roots beneath the soil and institutions built on bones crumble under the weight of their own curses. Tonight, we venture into the mist-shrouded heart of the Missouri Ozarks, that rugged expanse of ancient hills and hidden hollows, where the land itself seems to breathe with malice. The year is 1895, a time when the frontier's wild edges were still sharp, and civilization clung precariously to the riverbanks and lumber trails. Our tale is one of the widow of death, 9 husbands gone, 9 secrets buried, a story that slithers through the underbrush of human desperation, weaving a web of mystery, murder, and malevolent folklore. Imagine, if you will, the Ozarks in autumn's grip. The leaves turn blood red and gold, carpeting the forest floor like a shroud over unearthed secrets. The air hangs heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying wood, mingled with the faint, acrid tang of wood smoke from isolated cabins. Rivers carve through the limestone bluffs, their waters murmuring ancient incantations as they rush toward the Mississippi. In these remote valleys, communities huddle together against the encroaching wilderness, places like Winona or Garber, where post offices serve as fragile lifelines to the outside world, and lumber companies gnaw at the forests like hungry beasts. But beneath this veneer of hardy pioneer life lies a shadow realm, where superstitions fester like open wounds and legends of witches, howlers, and vengeful spirits stalk the night. Our protagonist, or perhaps our antagonist, for the line blurs in tales such as these, is Eliza Thorne, known in whispers as the Widow of Death, a woman of striking, almost otherworldly beauty, with raven hair that falls like midnight curtains and eyes the color of storm-clouded skies. She arrived in the Ozarks sometime in the early 1880s, a stranger from parts unknown, settling on a secluded farmstead in a hollow near the current river. Locals spoke of her as a healer at first, versed in the old ways of herb lore and poultices, drawing from the rich tapestry of Ozark folklore that blends Native American wisdom, Scots, Irish superstitions, and the dark undercurrents of European witchery. But as the years unfolded, so did the deaths. 9 husbands, each drawn to her like moths to a flickering lantern in the blackest night. Each marriage brief, each end shrouded in ambiguity, a sudden fever, a fall from a cliff, a heart that simply ceased in the dead of sleep. And with each body interred on her land, in a grove of twisted oaks that locals avoided after dusk, a secret was buried. Not just the corpse, but something more, a token, a confession, a relic that hinted at deeper horrors. Whispers spread through the saloons and churchyards. Was Eliza a black widow poisoning her way to fortune? Or was she cursed, a vessel for some ancient malice that claimed the men who dared love her? The Ozarks, you see, are rife with such tales, the Gauro lurking in caves, devouring the unwary, the Ozark howler, its cry a harbinger of doom, witches who dance under full moons, binding fates with knotted cords. Picture the scene: a traveler, weary from the rutted roads, arrives at Eliza's door on a fog-laden evening. The cabin's windows glow with lantern light, casting elongated shadows that dance like specters on the walls. Inside, the air is thick with the aroma of simmering stews, herbs like foxglove and nightshade, potent enough to heal or harm. The traveler, perhaps a lumberman or a drifter seeking shelter, is captivated by her voice, soft yet commanding, laced with an accent that evokes distant, forgotten lands. She offers hospitality, a meal, a bed. But as the night deepens, the winds howl through the hollow, carrying faint echoes of cries, not quite human, not quite beast. By morning, if the tales hold true, another grave might be dug. What draws us to such stories? The allure of the unknown, the thrill of peering into the abyss where human frailty meets supernatural dread. In the Ozarks of 1895, life was a constant battle against isolation, poverty, and the unforgiving land. Families scratched sustenance from rocky soil, haunted by the ghosts of the Civil War, vigilante groups like the Bald Knobbers, who once roamed these hills dispensing rough justice, their masks hiding faces twisted by vengeance. Superstitions governed daily life. Never whistle after dark, lest you summon the devil. Plant by the moon's phases, or court famine. Beware the blue man of the woods, a spectral figure said to lead the lost to their demise. Eliza's legend taps into these primal fears. 9 husbands, a number steeped in mysticism, echoing the 9 knots of a witch's ladder or the 9 realms of Old Norse lore. Each death, a layer peeled back from the onion of her enigma. Was she a murderer, methodically dispatching suitors for their meager inheritances? Or a tragic figure, bound by a family curse that traced back to the old country, where ancestors dabbled in forbidden arts? The secrets buried with them, letters, amulets, blood-stained cloths, suggest something more sinister, a ritualistic binding of souls to the earth. As we delve deeper, feel the chill creep up your spine. The Ozarks are not just a place, they are a state of mind, where the boundary between reality and myth dissolves like mist at dawn. Tonight, we uncover Eliza Thorne's story, piece by shadowed piece. But beware, in listening, you invite the shadows closer. They lurk not just in the tales, but in the corners of your own room, waiting for the light to fade. Stay with me, if you dare, as we step into the hollow. The tale begins in the spring of 1882, when Eliza Thorne first set foot in the Missouri Ozarks. The rivers were swollen with meltwater, carving deeper into the bluffs, and the forests burst with new life, dogwoods blooming white as ghosts against the greening hills. She arrived on a creaking wagon from St. Louis, her possessions scant, a trunk of herbs and books bound in cracked leather, a black cat that eyed strangers with unnerving intelligence, and a locket that she never removed, its surface etched with symbols no local could decipher. The hollow, she claimed, was known as Whispering Dell, a dip in the land where echoes lingered unnaturally long, as if the earth itself repeated secrets. Locals avoided it, claiming the soil was sour, cursed by Shawnee spirits displaced during the removals decades prior. But Eliza saw potential, or perhaps necessity. She built a cabin from felled oaks, its chimney puffing smoke that carried the scent of exotic brews. Word spread quickly in the tight-knit communities of Shannon County. A widow, young and comely, skilled in midwifery and remedies. Farmers' wives sought her for childbirth tonics, men for salves against the aches of lumber work. Her first husband was Jeremiah Blackwood, a sturdy lumberman of 35, widowed himself with 2 young sons. He courted her at a barn dance in Winona, where fiddles wailed like banshees under the harvest moon. Jeremiah was drawn to her quiet intensity, the way her fingers traced patterns in the air as she spoke of stars and seasons. They wed in a simple ceremony by the river, the water's rush drowning out the preacher's words. For a time bliss reigned. Eliza tended the garden, infusing it with strange plants that flourished unnaturally. The boys thrived, their pallid cheeks rosying under her care. But autumn brought change. Jeremiah fell ill, a wasting fever, his skin turning sallow as the leaves. He raved of shadows in the corners, of a blue figure watching from the woods. Eliza nursed him with potions, her hands steady, her eyes unreadable. One night, as thunder cracked the sky, he confessed a secret in his youth. He'd betrayed a friend during a bald Noba raid, leaving him to hang for crimes undeserved. "Bury it with me," he whispered, pressing a bloodied kerchief into her palm. By dawn, he was gone. Eliza dug the grave herself in the oak grove, the earth parting easily, as if eager. She placed the kerchief in his cold hands, whispering words in a tongue unknown. Whispers began then, soft at first, like wind through reeds. Unnatural, they said, too convenient. But grief masked suspicion, and Eliza mourned publicly, her veil a shroud of propriety. The second came swiftly. Elias Crow, a miner from the lead digs near Eminence, tall and brooding, with hands scarred from dynamite blasts. He sought her for a remedy against lung dust, stayed for her enigmatic smile. Marriage followed in winter's bite, the ceremony lit by candlelight that flickered as if protesting. Elias brought wealth nuggets hidden in jars, but also darkness. Nights, he wandered the hollow, claiming howls pursued him, the Ozark howler's cry foretelling doom. His end was abrupt, a fall into a ravine while fetching water, his neck snapped clean. Before death, he confessed to Eliza a murder in the mines, a rival pushed into a shaft for a claim dispute. "Hide it," he begged, giving her a stained pickaxe head. Buried with him in the grove, the 9th tree marking his rest. The cat watched from the branches, eyes glowing like embers. By the 3rd husband, Patton emerged. Harlan Voss, a farmer from Birch Tree, robust and jovial, wed her in spring's renewal. Laughter filled the cabin briefly, but summer brought drought and Harlan's crops withered. He turned to drink, revealing in delirium a secret arson, burning a neighbor's barn in jealousy. His death, choking on a meal, face blue as the spectral man of legend, buried with a charred timber shard. The 4th, Silas Reed, a traveling preacher with fire and brimstone zeal. He saw in Eliza a soul to save, but passion overtook piety. Wed in church, their union scandalous, his confession hypocrisy, fathering bastards while decrying sin. Death by lightning strike in the grove, body charred, buried with a torn Bible page. 5th, Gideon Hale, a merchant from Van Buren bringing silks and trinkets. Greed his vice, confessed embezzlement from kin, drowned in the river, body bloated, secret a forge, deed interred. 6th, Thorn Whitaker, ironic name, a blacksmith, muscles like iron. Confessed to wife, beating in prior life. Crushed by a falling anvil, buried with a broken chain. 7th, Beckett Lang, a doctor from Salem, drawn to her herbal knowledge. Shared experiments on patients, fatal errors hidden. Poisoned himself, or so it seemed, secret a vial of arsenic. 8th, Ronan Fitch, a gambler, debts mounting. Confessed cheating murder in a duel. Heart failure in sleep, buried with marked cards. And the 9th, Victor Kane, a lawman investigating rumors, drawn in despite warnings, confessed corruption, taking bribes from bold noble remnants. Vanished one night, found hanged in the grove, secret a badge stained with blood. With each the grove grew denser, trees twisting as if alive. Locals spoke of lights dancing there at midnight, whispers carried on winds. Eliza's beauty endured, untouched by time, her cat ever vigilant. The secrets buried tokens of sin seemed to feed the land, crops bountiful amid surrounding blight. But tension built. A young reporter from Springfield, Amos Greer, arrived in 1895, sniffing scandal. He interviewed survivors, the Blackwood boys, now grown, eyes haunted. "She speaks to the dead," one whispered. Amos camped near the hollow, notebook filling with eerie observations. Howls that sounded like names, shadows that moved against the wind. One eve he confronted Eliza. "What are these secrets?" he demanded. Her smile chilled him. "Every man carries darkness. I merely enter it." That night storm raged. Amos vanished, his journal found shredded. Pages speaking of a curse, Eliza's bloodline from old Salem witches, fleeing trials, binding souls to earth to prolong life. As 1895's summer heat baked the Ozarks, the widow's tale deepened into outright terror. The grove, now a forbidden thicket, pulsed with unnatural life. Vines snaked over graves, flowers bloomed black, petaled, exuding a scent that induced nightmares. Locals reported visions, husbands, ghosts wandering, mouths agape in silent screams, pointing accusatory fingers at Eliza's cabin. Amos Greer's disappearance ignited fear. Sheriff Harlan Voss, kin to the 3rd husband, assembled a posse. They rode into Whispering Dell at dusk, lanterns casting jittery light. The air grew thick, oppressive, as if the hollow resisted intruders. Eliza met them on her porch, cat perched on shoulder, eyes unblinking. "Gentlemen," she purred, "what shadows bring you here?" The sheriff demanded answers. 9 men dead, reporter missing. "Folks say you're a witch, binding souls." Eliza laughed, a sound like cracking ice. "Witches. In these hills. You know the legends, the howler calls the guilty. The Gauro devours secrets. Perhaps my husband's sins called their ends." A search ensued. The cabin revealed oddities, jars of preserved organs, books in arcane scripts, a mirror that reflected not faces but twisted forms. In the grove, digging began. First graved Jeremiah's bones, kerchief clutched, now pulsing with faint glow. As they unearthed, winds howled, trees groaned. One posse member screamed, claiming hands grasped his ankles from below. Deeper horrors unfolded. Each grave held not just remains but manifestations. Elias's pickaxe rusted blood red, Harlan's timber smoldered without flame. Ghosts rose translucent figures, recounting confessions in hollow voices. Silas preached damnation, Gideon wailed of drowning, Thorn hammered invisible anvils. The posse fled in panic, but Sheriff Voss pressed on. Confronting Eliza, he accused murder. Poison falls. "Accidents all you." She revealed truth, no poison, but a curse. Her lineage from European black widows mingled with Ozark witchery. "I draw the darkness out," she said. "Bury it, bind it, but it festers, hungers." Voss drew his gun, but shadows engulfed him. Husband's spirit swarmed, dragging him under. His scream echoed eternally in the dell. Eliza vanished that night, cabin ablaze in unnatural fire, the grove sealed, vines impenetrable. But legends persist on full moons, her voice whispers from winds, seeking a tenth. Secrets buried, but not forgotten, they wait to ensnare the curious. Years later, in 1900, a lumber crew breached the grove. They found bones entwined, a locket amid roots. Opening it unleashed howls, men maddened, confessing hidden sins before perishing. The widow's shadow lingers, a reminder that in the Ozarks, death is not an end, but a beginning. To understand the widow's tale, we must delve into the real fabric of 1895 Ozarks, a land forged in isolation, strife, and superstition. The Missouri Ozarks, spanning rugged plateaus from the Arkansas border to the Missouri River, were a hinterland in the late 19th century. Post-Civil War, the region healed from divisions, Union and Confederate sympathies clashed, birthing vigilantes like the Bald Knobbers. Formed in 1885 in Tennessee and Christian counties, these masked men enforced law where courts failed, hanging horse thieves and moral offenders. By 1889, internal feuds dissolved them, but their legacy of rough justice haunted hollows, inspiring tales of vengeful spirits. Economically, lumber boomed. Companies like the Ozark Land and Lumber Co. in Winona felled vast forests, rails snaking through valleys. Miners dug lead and zinc, towns like Eminence thriving briefly. But life was harsh. Farms on thin soil yielded meager crops. Poverty bred desperation. Immigrants, Germans, Irish, Scots brought folklore, blending with native remnants. Shawnee and Osage legends of earth spirits mingled with European witch tales. Superstitions ruled weather signs, like red skies foretelling storms, healing with mad stones or seventh sun powers. Witches were feared women, herbalists often accused, echoing Salem's hysteria. Vance Randolph's Ozark magic and folklore documents charms against hexes, love potions, ghost wards. Ghost stories abounded. The spook light near Joplin, orbs dancing, Albino Farm in Springfield, haunted by experiments, Hatchet Man's Bridge, where a killer's ghost lurks. Cryptids like the Ozark howler bear, like with horns, Crier woman's scream or Gauro, lizard beast in caves. Black widow archetypes drew from real killers, Belle Gunness, luring men via ads, burying them in Indiana circa 1900, Mary Ann Cotton in England, poisoning for insurance. In America, Sarah Jane Robinson, the Boston Borgia, killed family in the 1880s. Rural isolation enabled such crimes, bodies vanishing in wilderness. Cultural trauma, slavery's echo in Ozark County, 1850 census showing bondsmen, post-war sharecropping. Women's roles confined, but widows wielded power, inheriting land. Eliza embodies this, healer or harmer, tapping fears of feminine mystique. Folklore blended fact, healing herbs like nightshade could kill, confessions under duress mirrored vigilante interrogations. The grove's curses evoke grave, witching, dowsing for burials. This context lends authenticity, blurring legend and history, making the widow's story chillingly plausible. Beneath the widow's narrative lie profound symbols and psychological depths, connecting to universal fears. Isolation themes dominate Ozark's geography, mirrors inner solitude. Eliza's hollow, a metaphor for the soul's dark recesses. Each husband, drawn in, confronts buried sins, the grove a collective unconscious, where repressed guilt manifests as ghosts. Gender dynamics in patriarchal 1895, Eliza subverts norm. Black widows symbolize female agency through destruction, challenging male dominance. Her curse, perhaps matrilineal, evokes cultural trauma of witch hunts, women punished for knowledge. Death and secrecy. 9 husbands echo numerology, completion, but twisted. Buried secrets represent denial. Unearthing brings chaos, mirroring how societies bury atrocities, e.g., bold noble violence only for them to resurface. Folklore as coping. Ozark legends like Huller externalize fears, poverty, loss. Eliza embodies this, her story a cautionary tale against greed, betrayal. Human nature we all carry, secrets buried. The narrative probes. Psychological lens projection, husbands' deaths from guilt. Eliza a catalyst. Connects to Freudian edge, shadows erupting. Universal resonance echoes global myths, Lilith devouring men, Baba Yaga, forest witch. In modern context, serial killers fascinate as outlets for societal darkness. Ominously, the tale warns, unearth the past at peril. Some shadows are best left buried. As our journey through the widow's shadow concludes, linger on the echoes. Eliza Thorne, enigma of the Ozarks, vanishes into legend, her grove a silent sentinel. 9 husbands gone, secrets interred, but do they rest? In moonlit hollows, whispers persist, calling the guilty. This tale haunts because it mirrors our frailties, the allure of forbidden love, the weight of hidden sins. In 1895's rugged wilds, where folklore and fact entwine, such stories remind us the past is never truly buried. Dear listeners, as the night deepens, ask, what secrets do you carry? Might a widow's shadow fall upon you? Until next time, watch the darkness. It watches back.